In the previous episode, fuck you, Luke. This is wrong. Welcome back, everybody. In the previous episode, Marianne got smashed and was going to sleep with Luke, and we were like, no, we don't like Luke, no sleeping with him, but he liked that for some reason, so let's continue. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. Thanks for the tea, Marianne. Whiskey. I don't even question where these are from or just how he knew my real name. He's literally in your house. I bet you have your purse next to your bed or something. I'm just grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. Tuesday, October 18th, Marianne and Whiskey went to her condo after having one too many drinks. However, Marianne changed her mind about the one night stand and ended up sharing tea with him instead. The next morning, the stranger left nothing but a note and a bottle of painkillers. So, it's time-wise. Hannah throws a party in her penthouse and then sends an email to ask Marianne to help with the EMENGARDE mansion. I have a job to do. Okay, never mind. We just did the timeline. Right, one sec. So now it is 22nd. So, party at Hannah's place. Hannah hires Marianne. Isabella finds the note. A lot happened today, apparently. Hannah and Luke pressured to buy. So today, the Wrights secured the mansion today. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. But after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, it really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn Whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Wright. And to top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the EMENGARDE mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Ugh, rich people.
Mood. I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept other small projects. This is a big job and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the EMENGARDE mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but the library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books for Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on a Saturday morning, I find myself going to the only library in Luxbourne to hopefully cool off. My library books are overdue. Oh my god. After returning an Ursule and a poetry book by Henry of Podebrade, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I do not have much luck on that front. Right, Ursule is a family of Loa or spirits in voodoo, often associated with water, femininity, and feminine bodies. Henry of the Younger Pode, with an accent thingy, Brady, is a count in Germany in the 16th century. I don't know, if you want to learn more about them, feel free, go to the library. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly says that she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. Burn. I make headway at least when I ask about Siege and Rendition of Havana by Jacob de Pizuela. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of any other except for myself and a redhead, though I'd wager a guess that red's just passing by to get to the classical literature section. Take a guess who that is. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
It's not the naval battle book I was looking for, no, it's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxbourne Architecture, first edition too. I know I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on this book for so long. The fact that there is only one copy proves to be a problem though, when Red reaches out for the same time as I do.
I think I had this first, miss.
I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes that by the fact that I was significantly taller than her, it would intimidate the girl. Even then, she refused with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
A beat. She blinks and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pierce. who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament.
I don't know if this is true, but I'm not looking it up.
This bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Not me. Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland, on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Suddenly, it's a game where we throw these history questions and facts at each other, back and forth in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. After a while, it goes from some strange competition into this strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
She does not have a Scottish accent. By then, we had forgotten about our little tug-of-war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I had let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Ah yes, St. Goretti's. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have very young students. Right, time to look up St. Goretti. Maria Teresa Goretti was an Italian virgin martyr of the Catholic Church and one of the youngest saints to be canonized. Maria Goretti's father died, so she took over household responsibilities, and then the neighbor's son tried to sexually harass her. She refused and he stabbed her 14 times, and she was taken to hospital, but she died whilst forgiving him.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
Might be.
Marianne, then.
I could have said that I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It allows for some creative freedom, sure, but it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things. Any big projects right now? I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing.
I'm working on the EMENGARDE mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Intach. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it.
Did you think they didn't hire a Scottish voice actor because people wouldn't be able to understand them?
Now that is beautiful architecture.
A pause. It looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised, that place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet? I've met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly eye-tabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just get outdated within the year when what I have is just as functional? The traditional ways had a far more personal touch in my opinion, not to mention those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside only to have their eyes glued to the things. And fuck touchscreens, they're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder. Marianne actively wears like leather gloves though, so...
I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Speaking or thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes as she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself. All farther into the aisles she goes for some privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out.
Well, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10.
But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. She's listening to everything, that's not snippets. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to be cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she is still holding on to the history of Luxborn architecture. I don't give her time to think about it as I put a hand up and shake my head. Fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with one of my business cards, I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it. But you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
I'm pretty sure libraries have like a waiting list system now. She makes quick work, penning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin. Like, if you go to a library and say you want this book, if you try to renew it, it's like, no, somebody wants it, you gotta return it. You know what I mean? Like, there's like an online waiting list now.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course.
Why?
You have a good day then.
You too.
With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section. Although my original plans were to simply sit down and read a good book, our little pop quiz, if you could call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. Wholesome. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. I'm actually kinda hungry. There are still other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arseholes Professionally 101, just in case, probably wouldn't be in the history section. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, and rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring to keep me away from my me time as my mobile vibrates in my pocket the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Rose!
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Already? How did they go through the process so fast? This is wrong. Surely there are so many red tapes to even acquire the forms in the transferring of rights. Rights, get it? No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Was Marianne Rose's last call before she died?
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
Tarlev? I don't know, I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? These things take time. It's been what, a day? Less than that even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. Saturday, October 22nd. Marianne befriended Rebecca Gales during a visit to the library. Marianne received a call from Rose Cooper afterwards, informing her that the EMENGARDE mansion's floor plans were ready for pickup at their office. As it looks like I'm on the clock starting today, I might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love. The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left with the book I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works, so this would be the 18th time in fact. But it's always nice to read through it again when I don't have time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich that they just end up plain filthy, you need the good old Marquis' sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
The wound being without any consequence. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Briar Realty Corporation's Luxborn branch isn't too far off from the city centre, just a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. I'd rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get hands-on with the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely, no matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, any big repairs would be superficial at most. I am quite certain that in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't an infrequent thing to do, despite how it is frowned upon. There will be a lot of hidden issues that I will need to weed out, and I have to make sure I find every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on top of the list we will have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is centuries old. That alone will keep pose to a few problems here and there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely, so long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. Those two things always make sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. When I do go up to BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already. If they still aren't filtering through the doors, I'm still perplexed that everyone's working on a Saturday. I get that it's a Saturday, that people probably feel tired and lazy to be working on a weekend, especially a realtor. But they're still on the clock and not bumming around wasting company time on extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious, as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what's usually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There is a lot more empty chairs than there are actual people working at their desks. It reminds me far too much of my last day at Porskova Projects during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But this isn't just that, though. Everything is as quiet as a grave. It's as if people these days are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos comes in through the doors looking as if she's just seen one. She looks at me wide-eyed like a deer caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. I pointed out I wanted to inquire, but that would be unprofessional. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long, don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste.
Also, Isabella's and Marianne's relationship is terrible.
I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards her station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she said, but it does take a bit time spent to compose herself, most likely.
You know, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you should be working, playing those mindless, addictive games. Wow, Marianne, that's kind of judgmental. I definitely wish Chris would stop playing that Batcat thing during work hours too.
I know what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint.
Did Isabella just say she huffs paint?
Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Wait, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Checking out the floor plans, I see that I'll have a lot going for me. Now I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans from that one movie. I don't know what movie that is. Wow, that place is huge. So, Zach broke into the parlor, I believe. This is why I became an architect in the first place. Jacobean style at its finest, it's a thing of beauty. Look at these gorgeous rooms, the delicate harmony between empty spaces. And speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these ones.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger. Maybe the scale is wrong? It's not much of a problem. And it is an old house.
There had been little details here and there that I would like to address during the open house too. But it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos' incident and the trouble with ownership. The wine cellar is going to be a problem. I shudder to think of what sort of repairs they did to the place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed to the dark corner of the rooms, and hidden away in barrels. What damage could have been covered up? Okay, I just had the realization. Okay, she said... Oh, wait, the wrong way around. I was going to say she said that it's bigger than she thought when I was like, okay, so they've, like, barricaded walls. But no, it's, like, the other way around. So they, like, knocked down walls? There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year, after all, and if there's any sort of damage to the house's foundation, that's going to do a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attic as well. For all I know, the whole family of vermin could have made their nest in there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of this place is staggering, even if I did just say it was a lot smaller than I thought. Oh wait, no she did, which means that they've cut off areas, like secret tunnels, Or dead bodies. I might just be biting off more than I can chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I'll have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John. I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own. Come on.
It just sounds like Isabella doesn't want to be left alone. I have to stamp down my annoyance at being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really the one she should be babbling to. How should I respond? So this is where I got to. So anything after this video is going to be raw, uncut stuff if I don't mess up my audio again. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful evening again, and I will hope to see you all on the next video. Bye!